Chapter 1. The $20 million Breakthrough. Marcus Cole had imagined many versions of the moment his life would change. Maybe a quiet congratulations from a boardroom of executives, maybe a pat on the back from his mentor, maybe a handshake that meant his years of late nights and unglamorous tinkering had finally paid off. But he had never pictured a conference room packed with executives, lawyers, champagne, and a three-tier cake decorated with his own signature printed in edible gold. "Mr. Cole," said Benjamin Mackey, the CEO of HydroLife Technologies, "on behalf of the company, we are thrilled to officially acquire the full rights to your water purification patent." He extended a hand across the polished glass table. Marcus shook it. His hand felt steady. His heart, a different story entirely. $20 million wired directly to your account. Benjamin continued with a grin. As of 12 minutes ago. Applause erupted. A few executives whistled. Someone popped a champagne bottle prematurely, earning laughter from the crowd. Marcus smiled graciously, giving polite thanks, but some part of him felt slightly outside his own body, watching the moment from a distance. He had spent 15 years perfecting that filtration system, a household-size, ultra-efficient purifier that could turn contaminated well water into safe drinking water in minutes. Years of prototypes, failures, triumphs, and persistence had led to this. $20 million. It didn't feel real. "You did it," said Harold, his longtime colleague and the only other engineer in the room who wasn't wearing an Armani suit. "You freaking did it, Marcus. Early retirement." Just like that. Marcus chuckled. "It doesn't feel like retirement. It feels like I'm still supposed to go back to the lab tomorrow and fix the flow regulator." Harold smacked him lightly on the shoulder. "You're done fixing flow regulators. You're about to be obscenely wealthy. Act like it." "I'll try." When the room finally began to empty, executives drifting off to meetings and assistants rolling away the cake cart, Marcus took a quiet moment for himself. He leaned on the long window, overlooking the city skyline. The sun hung low, casting golden stripes on the rooftops. He took a slow breath. He should have felt free. He should have felt triumphant. Instead, he felt a knot in his stomach. The money wasn't the knot, Brittany was. His wife had practically vibrated with excitement the moment he told her about the acquisition a month earlier. She'd immediately started pricing handbags, flights, home renovations. Her Pinterest boards had exploded. Her voice had become a non-stop stream of phrases like upgrading everything, rebranding our lifestyle, and finally living big. She deserved happiness. He wanted her to enjoy it. But somewhere along the way, something felt off. Brittany used to dream about stability, not extravagance. She used to talk about travel experiences, not luxury resorts. She used to say she loved him because he was grounded and kind, but lately she seemed to want someone glossy and loud. "Marcus," he turned to see Benjamin approaching again. "We're doing a proper celebration tonight. But your wife insisted that the real party happens at your home. She said she has everything prepared." Marcus blinked. "She what?" "Oh yes," Benjamin laughed. "She was quite firm about it. Your house, her decorations, her menu, her guest list. Said Marcus deserves a celebration worthy of a king." That knot twisted a little tighter. "Right," Marcus said. "I'll head home then. She's been talking about this party all week." "Go celebrate with your queen," Benjamin said. "You earned it." Marcus drove home with the radio off, letting the hum of the engine fill the silence. The number $20 million kept looping in his mind. He could take a year off. He could take 5. He could finally work on the community water project he dreamed of building in his hometown. He pulled into the driveway and immediately spotted 2 catering vans parked outside. Staff darted back and forth, carrying trays of food and massive floral arrangements. A luxury event planning company logo was displayed on a sign near the walkway. Oh, Brittany had gone all out. He stepped inside. The transformation was stunning and overwhelming. Silk tablecloths draped over every surface. Crystal vases filled with imported white roses. A lighting team was installing soft amber uplights along the walls. A string quartet was rehearsing in the living room. "Marcus!" Brittany came rushing down the staircase, her heels clacking sharply against the steps. Her blonde hair was in flawless waves, her makeup perfectly contoured. She wore an elegant champagne-colored gown that shimmered like it was sewn with stardust. She threw her arms around him, kissing his cheek. "I can't believe it. 20 million. I told you this day would come, didn't I? I told you." He hugged her back, slightly startled by her intensity. "Yeah, you did. You should see the backyard," she said breathlessly. "We rented those Italian lanterns you love. And the ocean blue ice sculpture. Oh my God, wait till you see it." He blinked. "Ice sculpture? Of your purification device?" She grinned. "Isn't that brilliant? Everyone will know what you invented." Marcus wasn't sure if he loved or hated the idea of being the focal point of a massive ice monument. "Britt," he said gently, "this seems a lot." "It's not a lot," she insisted. "It's perfect. You're rich now, Marcus. We can finally celebrate like real winners." That word hit his chest strangely. Winners. He wasn't sure when Brittany had become so obsessed with winning. Before he could respond, she waved down a staff member. "Can you move the dessert table closer to the left?" "Yes, right there." "Thank you." Then she turned back, plastering on her brightest smile. "We're expecting about 80 people." 80. "Please don't do that thing where you act modest," she said, wagging a finger at him. "It's adorable, but today, just let yourself enjoy it." He nodded politely, though a strange pressure pressed against his ribs. He wanted to be happy for her enthusiasm, but the extravagance felt suffocating. Hours passed as the event's setup continued. Marcus changed into a tailored navy suit Brittany had bought him last week for when the big checks start rolling in. He wandered through the rooms, watching strangers and staff bustle around his home like a stage production. Finally, as the first guests began to arrive and the house filled with warm chatter and classical music, Marcus stepped toward the main party hall to greet everyone. He reached the doorway and froze. Brittany stood near the center of the hall, her back partially turned to him. She was speaking in an urgent, terse whisper. Lorraine, her mother, leaned in close, her expression tight and worried. They didn't notice Marcus approaching. Brittany's voice was low, strained, and hurried. Chapter 2. The Poison Toast. The party hall glowed under soft amber lights, chandeliers shimmering above the crowd like clusters of tiny stars. Laughter rose and fell in waves. Champagne glasses clinked. The string quartet played a polished rendition of Clair de Lune. It looked like the kind of expensive celebration Marcus saw on TV, not the sort he ever expected to host. Brittany floated across the floor like she'd been rehearsing for this moment her entire life. Between checking on the catering staff, posing for photos, and complimenting guests she barely remembered meeting, she never stopped smiling. "Marcus!" She appeared at his side, slipping her arm around his waist. "Come on, babe. It's almost time for your speech." "I thought Benjamin was giving the speech," Marcus said. "He is. But you know how these things work. They'll want to hear from the genius of the night." She kissed his cheek quickly before pulling away to greet another cluster of guests. Marcus gave a thin smile and nodded politely to the people around him. Compliments flew at him from every direction. "You changed the game with that patent. I told my husband we should have bought stock before it blew up. You're a miracle worker. Clean water for the world. Amazing." He thanked them each time, but his eyes kept drifting to Brittany. She was laughing loudly at something Lorraine whispered to her. The same Lorraine who had spent the first 5 years of their marriage barely concealing her disgust at Marcus's boring engineer life. Suddenly she acted like they were royalty. He took a sip of champagne and scanned the room again. Something just felt off. "All right, everyone." Benjamin Mackey's booming voice echoed through the hall, tapping a spoon against his glass. "If we could gather around for the official toast." Servers hurried around refilling flutes. A few guests shuffled closer, forming a loose semicircle around the mini stage set up below the chandelier. Brittany appeared beside Marcus again, breathless. "Hold this," she said, thrusting a crystal flute into his hand. "Your toast glass. Don't go anywhere." She had that rehearsed hostess smile frozen on her face, but her eyes darted nervously over his shoulder, scanning something behind him. Marcus frowned slightly. "Everything okay?" "Of course," she said too quickly. Just stay here. Please." She hurried off again, her movements suddenly sharper, stiffer. Lorraine approached with her own glass, wearing a sequined silver dress that shimmered almost blindingly under the lights. "Marcus," she said, her voice syrupy sweet, "tonight is truly a dream. You must be very proud of yourself." "I'm grateful," he said. "It still feels surreal." Lorraine nodded eagerly. "Well, it's only the beginning. Brittany has such big visions for your future. This money will open so many doors." He opened his mouth to respond, but she was already gliding away toward the stage. Benjamin lifted a hand. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here to celebrate not just a business deal, but the brilliant mind who made it possible." He smiled toward Marcus. "Our very own Marcus Cole." Applause rippled through the hall. Marcus took a breath and readjusted his grip on his champagne glass. That's when it happened. He caught the movement out of the corner of his eye. Brittany, half hidden behind a floral display, holding a tiny clear vial between her fingers. He watched, frozen, as she tipped it swiftly into the flute he held just moments ago on a nearby table. The liquid disappeared instantly into the pale champagne. Brittany straightened her posture immediately, her expression smoothing into calm perfection. She walked toward Marcus, placing the freshly doctored flute right in front of him on the table with a soft clink. She thought he hadn't seen a thing. Marcus didn't blink, didn't tighten his jaw, didn't glance at the vial being tucked into her clutch. His expression remained unreadable. "Marcus," Brittany said sweetly, sliding back to his side. "Here you go. Ready?" He nodded slowly. "Yes." But his mind raced. Why? Why would she? A server stepped between them for a moment, distracting her. Quickly, silently, Marcus shifted his hand. He set down the poison glass and picked up the identical one sitting next to it, Lorraine's. His heart thudded hard once, deep in his chest. No one noticed. "Drinks up," Benjamin called cheerfully. "Let's raise our glasses." Marcus lifted Lorraine's untouched flute. Brittany lifted the poison one, the same one she thought she'd given to him, her eyes still darting to Marcus's face as if waiting for him to. What? Already be dizzy? The thought chilled him, but he kept his face calm. Benjamin continued. "Tonight we honor innovation, dedication, and a man who has given the world a safer tomorrow." "To Marcus." "To Marcus," the crowd echoed. Marcus gently touched his glass to Brittany's. The champagne was cool, effervescent, ordinary. Brittany drank hers with a bright, proud smile. But Lorraine, standing slightly behind Brittany, took her own long sip of the doctored drink he had swapped. 1 second passed. 2. 5. Marcus held his breath. Lorraine's expression shifted first. Confusion creased her eyebrows. Her hand trembled. The glass slipped from her fingers, shattering loudly on the floor. Gasps erupted. "Mom," Brittany said sharply, turning. Lorraine's face drained of color. Her knees buckled. Her body convulsed violently, like an electric current ripped through her. Screams tore through the hall. "Oh my God," someone shouted. "Call an ambulance." Lorraine collapsed onto the polished floor, her limbs jerking uncontrollably. Guests stumbled backward, spilling drinks and falling over chairs. "Mom!" Brittany shrieked, dropping to her knees beside her. "Somebody help her. Please." She cried with a kind of dramatic ferocity Marcus had never heard from her. Too loud, too perfectly placed, too theatrical. "Mom! Oh my God, she's dying. She's dying." The string quartet stopped playing mid-note. Caterers froze. A server fainted. Pandemonium swallowed the room. Marcus crouched beside Brittany, placing a steady hand on her shoulder. "What's happening?" he asked, keeping his voice confused, panicked but not too panicked. Brittany looked up at him with wild eyes that flicked across his face as if searching for signs. Signs he should have been showing. Symptoms. He stared back at her, his expression perfectly blank. I don't, she just... Brittany sobbed, swallowing air like she couldn't breathe. Guests scrambled for space. Paramedics were called. Panic ricocheted off the walls. And Marcus stayed beside Brittany, pretending not to understand the truth he had already seen with his own eyes. Chapter 3. Hospitalized and the first puzzle piece. Sirens wailed as the ambulance tore down the coastal highway. Its lights strobed through the tinted rear windows of Marcus's SUV as he followed closely behind. The night sky had turned a dull purple blue, heavy with the weight of fog rolling in from the shore. Inside the vehicle, Marcus's hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly the tendons stood out like cords. His phone buzzed nonstop, guests texting in panic, staff asking what to do about the cleanup, neighbors asking why emergency vehicles had swarmed the house. But Marcus ignored everything. His mind replayed the moment frame by frame. Brittany emptying the vial into his glass, the swift glance around to ensure no one was watching, the flawless acting once Lorraine collapsed. He felt a hollow sensation behind his ribs, not fear, not anger. Something colder. The hospital parking lot was a blur of fluorescent lights. Brittany burst out of the passenger door before the SUV came to a full stop. Her heels clicked frantically over the pavement as she sprinted toward the sliding glass doors. "Please," she shouted to the triage nurse the moment she entered the ER. "My mother," she collapsed. "She's in the ambulance. She needs help. Please." The nurse tried to calm her. "Ma'am, they'll bring her straight in. The doctors are ready." Marcus walked in after her, more slowly, his expression blank even as his pulse hammered beneath his calm exterior. When the paramedics rolled Lorraine in, she looked worse than before, her skin pale, breaths ragged, body jerking intermittently. A cluster of doctors surrounded her immediately, shouting vitals, adjusting machines, injecting stabilizers. Brittany tried to run after her, but a nurse blocked her. "You have to wait in the family room," she said firmly. "No, I need to be with her. That's my mother," Brittany cried, reaching out dramatically before burying her face in her hands. Marcus placed a steady hand between her shoulder blades. "Britt, let them work." She shuddered under his touch. They were escorted into a small consultation room. Beige walls, stiff chairs, the smell of disinfectant seeping into the air like cold fog. A vending machine hummed outside the door. Brittany paced back and forth, clutching her clutch purse so tightly her knuckles paled. This doesn't make sense. She was fine. She was smiling. She wasn't even drinking that much. Marcus sat with his hands clasped together. She drank an entire flute. Brittany spun toward him sharply. "So, people drink champagne all the time and don't collapse like that." He raised an eyebrow. "I didn't say it caused it. I just said she drank it." Brittany faltered, blinking quickly. I'm just saying she hasn't been drinking heavy. That's all. Maybe it was dehydration. Or stress. Or maybe she had a stroke." She said that last sentence loudly, too loudly, as if rehearsing a narrative. Marcus leaned back. "A stroke?" "Yes," Brittany insisted. "She's been under a lot of pressure lately. Aging, stress, life, all of it. She's been tired. She's been complaining of headaches, hasn't she?" Marcus tilted his head slightly. "Has she?" Brittany's jaw tightened for a fraction of a second. "Well, maybe she hasn't said it exactly, but you know how she is. She keeps things to herself." He said nothing. Brittany resumed pacing, peeking through the glass panel in the door whenever a nurse passed by. Marcus watched her movements, the jittery fingers, the restless bouncing of her foot, the way her eyes flicked toward him every few seconds. Not lovingly, not worried, but scanning, searching. For what? For symptoms he wasn't showing. 30 excruciating minutes passed before the door opened and a doctor stepped inside, a tall man with a trimmed beard and tired but sharp eyes. "Are you family?" he asked. "Yes," Brittany said immediately. "I'm her daughter." "This is her." She hesitated for a split second, then added, "son-in-law." The doctor nodded. "I'm Dr. Aiden Shaw. I'm overseeing your mother's case." "How is she?" Brittany demanded, gripping his sleeve. Dr. Shaw gently but firmly removed her hand. "She's stable for now, but the situation is very serious." Brittany gasped dramatically. What happened to her? Was it a stroke? A heart attack? The doctor looked between them. It wasn't either of those. Marcus sat up straighter. Brittany blinked rapidly. "Then what?" Dr. Shaw exhaled. "She was poisoned." Silence hit the room like a slammed door. Brittany's face drained of color, not grief, but something more complicated, something jagged. She recovered quickly, masking it behind rehearsed horror. "Poisoned?" she yelled. What does that mean? How? How could something like that even happen? She was at a party. Marcus studied her reaction carefully. Every blink, every twitch. We traced her symptoms, Dr. Shaw continued, and the toxicology test we ran upon arrival detected a fast-acting neurotoxic alkaloid in her system. It's rare, but extremely potent. A neurotox what? Brittany stammered. A nerve toxin. The doctor translated simply. It causes sudden cardiac arrhythmia, neurological disruption, and muscle failure. Without intervention, it can lead to death in minutes. Marcus inhaled slowly. Brittany pressed her hands to her head. No, 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 no. That's impossible. She must have eaten something bad, or maybe someone accidentally spilled something. People were drinking all night. Maybe something got mixed up. There's no possible way this was accidental, the doctor said firmly. The toxin is not something someone stumbles on. It is highly specific. We are required to report incidents like this to the authorities. Brittany froze, her pupils shrinking. Marcus noticed. Authorities? She whispered. Yes, Dr. Shaw said. The police have been notified. Brittany let out a forced sob and collapsed into a chair. Why would anyone poison my mother? Why? The outburst was loud, but the tears weren't real. Marcus could see it plainly, her face contorted, but her eyes stayed calculating, scanning Marcus for signs of dizziness, nausea, weakness. She kept checking him. Again, and again, and again. The doctor continued explaining Lorraine's condition, but Marcus barely heard him. His attention was focused entirely on Brittany. Her gaze slid to him once more. She stared at his hands first, then his lips, then his eyes, then his posture. Looking for tremors, looking for pallor, looking for sweating, looking for anything wrong. And every time she saw he was fine, something like disappointment flickered, quickly hidden, behind her mascaraed lashes. Marcus remained expressionless. He didn't confront her. He didn't breathe differently. He didn't let her see anything. But inside, the pieces shifted into place with slow, cold clarity. Lorraine wasn't meant to drink the poison. Someone else was. Someone who should have collapsed. Someone who should be convulsing on a hospital bed right now. Someone who should be showing the symptoms Brittany kept scanning for. Someone like him. Marcus felt the truth lock into place like the final click of a loaded gun. He didn't say a word. He just listened, silently, while Brittany lied. Chapter 4, Motive. Money, Debt, and Desperation. Marcus woke the next morning before the sun rose, long before Brittany stirred from her side of the bed. She slept like nothing had happened, one arm flung over a silk pillow, mouth slightly open, breathing steady. He watched her for a moment, studying the woman he once believed would rather starve than lie to him. Now she slept peacefully after almost killing him. He dressed silently, walked into his home office, and locked the door behind him. The house was still, only the low hum of the refrigerator audible through the hallway. He sank into his chair. He needed answers, not guesses, not half-formed suspicions. Proof. He pulled out his laptop, opened a private browser window, and began digging. 1. Brittany's Boutique. He typed in, Brittany Cole Boutique, financial reports, tax records. The boutique was registered under Brittany's maiden name, a decision she claimed was for branding. As Marcus clicked through public filings, the truth unfurled like a festering wound. The business was bleeding money. Minus $37,000. Minus $68,000. Minus $112,400. The last year alone showed over $160,000 in losses. Marcus leaned back, exhaling through his nose. So Brittany had been lying every time she bragged about growing the brand. Her glossy Instagram posts of sold-out signs and busy workdays were staged illusions. He clicked deeper. Invoices for imported fabrics. Unpaid supplier statements. Late fees. Overdue rent. Creditors threatening collections. He muttered under his breath, Jesus, Britt. The boutique bleeding that much money wasn't a business. It was a ticking bomb. A bomb Marcus now knew she planned to pay off using his death. 2. Lorraine's financial hell. Next, he searched Lorraine's public records. It was worse. Marcus blinked at the screen as row after row of debt entries scrolled before him. 3 maxed-out credit cards. 2 personal loans. a third loan from a private lender, a mortgage in default, and a $47,900 cosmetic surgery loan at extreme interest. He whispered, "Good God. No wonder Lorraine always complained about stress. No wonder she clung to Brittany like a lifeline." He clicked into one particular loan account, a high-interest debt Lorraine owed to a small, shady lending agency. A name popped up as the collector assigned to her account. Andre Hawkins. Marcus's spine stiffened. Andre, Brittany's cousin. The same cousin who always lingered too close at family gatherings. The same one who bragged about helping people find money fast. The same one Marcus once overheard discussing collections that got messy. A loan shark. A real one. Marcus rubbed his temples. All of this was spiraling, and I didn't even know. But then again, they never wanted him to know. 3. The prenup. Marcus stood, walked to the filing cabinet, and pulled out the fireproof lockbox. He entered the code and retrieved the neatly folded document inside. The prenup. He had insisted gently on it before marriage. Not because he distrusted Brittany, but because his parents had begged him to protect the patent idea he was already developing. They made the prenup fair. Brittany kept anything she earned. Marcus kept anything he earned. If they divorced, she received no spousal support. But if Marcus died, the prenup didn't matter. The will did. He opened the will folder next. His stomach twisted. There in black ink. Primary beneficiary. Brittany Cole. Secondary beneficiary. Lorraine Prescott. Brittany's mother. He remembered writing it years ago, thinking he was being generous, thoughtful, ensuring Brittany was safe if anything ever happened to him. A version of his younger self had trusted these two women with everything he'd ever worked for. He sat slowly back onto the chair. They would get everything if I died. His heartbeat thudded once, then twice, then faster. Kill Marcus, inherit $20 million, pay debts, restart lavish lifestyle. Suddenly it all made sense. Brittany's sudden obsession with money, her fixation on a luxurious life, her strange, restless behavior leading up to the party, her desire to host it herself, her insistence about the champagne toast, the vial, the poison, the performance. Once Lorraine collapsed, Marcus closed his laptop and exhaled shakily. Brittany had a motive, a powerful, desperate one, and Lorraine was drowning deep enough in debt to help push it along. 4. The call from the bank. As if the universe wanted to confirm everything, Marcus's phone buzzed. Bank alert. Large withdrawal attempt detected. Please verify. Marcus stood so quickly the chair rolled backward. He opened the notification. Attempted charge. $15,200 merchant. Royal Serene SBA and Skin Brittany's favorite luxury spa. He grit his teeth. She didn't even wait 12 hours. Marcus pressed decline transaction and set the phone down slowly. The shaking in his hands wasn't fear. It was anger. Controlled, ice-cold anger. 5. Searching the house. Marcus slipped quietly into the master bedroom. Brittany was still asleep, rolled onto her stomach, one arm dangling. He opened her closet, careful not to make noise. Her purses were arranged perfectly in rows of luxury logos. He checked inside each one until he found it. A small velvet pouch. Inside it, a tiny clear vial, empty, with faint residue clinging to the glass. He stared at it for a long moment. So she hadn't even bothered to hide it. She must have assumed he wouldn't look, or that he wouldn't be alive to look. The thought chilled him. Marcus placed the vial back exactly how he found it. Not a millimeter moved. He wasn't ready for confrontation. Not yet. He needed more information, more understanding, more proof. 6. Andre returns. That afternoon, Marcus heard a car door outside. He peered from the upstairs window. Andre Hawkins stood in the driveway, hands shoved into his pockets, eyes scanning the house like a wolf sizing up prey. Marcus didn't go outside. Andre didn't come knocking. He just lingered, watching. Then he left. A clear message. Marcus's jaw tightened. 7. The realization. When night fell, Marcus returned to his office and spread out printed documents across the desk. Brittany's boutique losses, Lorraine's debt, Andre's loan shark business, their failed, flashy lifestyle, the prenup, the will, the poison attempt piece by piece. The puzzle assembled itself with brutal clarity. This wasn't a spontaneous mistake. This wasn't a heat-of-the-moment impulse. This was planned, calculated, cold. Marcus closed his eyes for a long moment. Then he opened them, and there was no fear left, only resolve. He opened a new folder on his laptop. Evidence, Brittany. The first file he uploaded was the boutique loss record, then Lorraine's debt, then screenshots of the attempted spa charge. He documented everything calmly, methodically, as if preparing for war. Because now, for the first time, Marcus understood the truth with absolute certainty. They tried to kill him, but he wasn't dead. And now, the hunt for proof had begun. Chapter 5, Plan B. Declare him incompetent. Marcus had barely slept. He sat at the kitchen table, nursing a cup of black coffee, staring at the faint swirl of steam rising from it. His mind was razor-sharp despite the exhaustion. He had expected Brittany to make a move. He just didn't expect it this soon. At precisely 8:03 a.m., the doorbell chimed. Once, twice, then a rapid series of knocks. He didn't need to guess. Marcus rose slowly, inhaled once, and opened the door. Brittany stood on the porch wearing a beige cashmere sweater, hair curled, makeup too perfect for early morning. She was smiling brightly, too brightly. Behind her stood Andre, arms folded, sunglasses on despite the cloudy sky. Brittany lifted a large white box like a trophy. Baby, she exclaimed. We brought breakfast. Your favorites. Marcus didn't move. Why would you bring anything? We don't even eat pastries in the morning. Her smile flickered but recovered instantly. Well, you've had a stressful couple of days. We thought you could use something sweet. Andre stepped forward with a slow grin. We're just looking out for you, bro. Bro. Marcus stepped aside. Come in. The performance begins. The moment they entered, Brittany transformed into a hovering, overly sympathetic caregiver. She set the pastry box on the kitchen island with theatrical gentleness, sighing dramatically. Marcus, honey, you look awful. Didn't you sleep? You seem out of it. He leaned against the counter. I'm fine. Andre glanced around the kitchen like he owned it. You sure? You look kinda spaced out, man. Marcus didn't respond. Brittany lifted the lid on the pastry box, rows of glossy chocolate eclairs, fruit danishes, and croissants. Expensive. Imported. Attempting to convey generosity. Eat something, she said, pushing a plate toward him. Your blood sugar must be low. I'm not hungry. They exchanged a look. The kind of look people share when the plan isn't going smoothly. Brittany cleared her throat and pulled something from her designer bag. A glossy brochure. She slid it across the counter toward Marcus. Golden Birch Wellness Retirement Community, where peace meets professional care. Marcus lifted an eyebrow. What is this? Brittany adopted her softest, fakest voice. Just something to consider. Andre chimed in. It's not like a nursing home. It's upscale. Like a spa. Relaxation, wellness, full-time observation. Observation. Marcus repeated. Brittany's eyes softened with counterfeit concern. Baby, you've been through trauma. And yesterday, when you forgot your keys, and how you looked confused at the hospital, I wasn't confused. She touched his arm. Marcus, denial is normal. But we want you safe. Properly cared for until you're yourself again. I am myself. Andre stepped closer, invading Marcus's space. Look, man, sometimes stress messes with the brain. It happens. Brittany placed the brochure fully in front of Marcus, flattening it with her palm. They have doctors, therapists, specialized programs, and all they need is consent from you. Just a signature. Marcus froze. There it was. The trap. He didn't speak. He only watched them. Brittany reached into her bag again and produced a set of documents clipped neatly together. Here, she said, pushing them to him. These are the intake forms. And she pulled out another sheet. A temporary durable power of attorney. Just temporary until you recover. Andre nodded approvingly. Smart move. She can handle things for you. Pay bills. Manage accounts. Keep you from worrying. Marcus's heartbeat slowed. The pieces clicked together with merciless precision. Plan A. Poison him. Plan B. Declare him incompetent. Strip him legally. Take control of everything. He didn't touch the papers. Brittany continued gently, like she was consoling a child. You've been acting unlike yourself. You're paranoid, jumpy, forgetful. That's interesting, Marcus said quietly. Because I remember everything perfectly. Andre snorted. Come on, man. Don't make this hard. Brittany's eyes narrowed slightly, the mask slipping. Marcus, sweetheart, you can't keep pretending. You need help. He looked straight at her. Do I? She swallowed. For the first time since stepping inside, Brittany looked nervous. The push. Andre placed a hand on Marcus's shoulder, firm directive. Look, let's stop dancing around. Sign the papers. The sooner this is handled, the sooner you can rest. Marcus moved his shoulder out of Andre's grip. Don't touch me. Brittany's voice dropped from soothing to irritated. Marcus, stop being dramatic. This is for your own good. You're getting worse. I feel fine. That's exactly why you need oversight, she snapped. You don't see what we see. He gave a slow, mirthless smile. Really? And what do you see, Brittany? Her jaw clenched. Someone who is not fit to manage $20 million. Andre added, and someone who's definitely not making sound decisions. Marcus stepped back, folded his arms, and let them talk. How about the boutique? He said casually. Brittany flinched. What about it? You've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Her face drained of color. You don't know anything about running a business. And Lorraine's debts, Marcus continued, voice calm, cold. Those don't help your case much either. Andre's expression hardened. You've been snooping? I've been informed. Brittany swallowed, eyes darting. Marcus, please don't do this. You're sick. You're not thinking clearly. He stared at her without blinking. She looked away first. The shift into desperation. Andre took a step closer again. Look, we're trying to help you. But if you refuse, Marcus raised a hand. Stop talking. They fell silent. He picked up the brochure, looked at it once, then dropped it into the trash can beside the counter. Brittany inhaled sharply. Marcus. He spoke evenly, clearly. Firm enough to split stone. I know what you're doing. Andre stiffened. Marcus added, the poison didn't work. So now you're trying to make me sign my life away. Brittany's denial came too fast. Marcus, God, how could you think save it, he said. She stepped forward, voice rising. You need help. You're imagining things. You're unstable, Marcus. I'm done listening. Marcus walked to the front door and opened it. Both of you. Out. Andre bristled. Don't talk to us like out. Brittany's expression cracked. Anger, fear, calculation all flashing at once. Marcus, if you do this, she hissed under her breath, you're proving exactly why you need to be supervised. He didn't budge. He didn't say a word. He simply pointed at the door. Andre grabbed Brittany's arm. Let's go. As they stepped outside, Brittany turned back, her voice low and icy. You're making a mistake. Marcus closed the door on her mid-sentence. The deadbolt clicked. He exhaled long and steady. Then he whispered to himself, with quiet certainty. They're desperate, and desperate people get sloppy. He leaned back against the door, pulse steady and controlled. Plan B had failed. He wasn't incompetent. He wasn't confused. He wasn't signing anything. And he had just kicked them out. Chapter 6. Enter Regina Park, the shark lawyer. Marcus didn't wait. The moment Brittany and Andre drove off, he grabbed his phone, opened his contacts, and clicked on a name he never thought he would need. Regina Park, ESQ, corporate litigator, contract assassin, financial bloodhound. They had met once at a company dinner years ago. She wasn't friendly, she wasn't warm, but she was terrifyingly competent. Exactly what he needed. He hit call. She answered on the second ring. Marcus Hale. Her tone was crisp, surgical. No wasted syllables. It's urgent, he said. I need legal protection. And possibly criminal counsel. Address, she demanded. He gave it. I'll be there in 40 minutes. She hung up before he could say goodbye. The shark arrives. Regina Park arrived in 34. A midnight black Mercedes slid to a stop in front of the house. The door opened and out stepped Regina, tall, immaculate, hair pulled into a razor-sharp bun, navy suit pressed so perfectly it looked carved. She approached the front door like she was walking into court to devour someone. Marcus opened it. She took one look at him and said, You look like hell. Let's get started. He blinked. Good to see you too. No time for personal feelings, she said briskly, stepping inside. Tell me everything, and don't spare me any details. Marcus led her to the kitchen table. She placed a leather case down, pulled out a tablet, stylus, and a small voice recorder. Go, she instructed. He did. He recounted the party, the vial, the glass swap, Lorraine's collapse, the hospital, Brittany's lies, the morning visit, the Golden Birch plan, the paperwork, the pressure. Regina listened without interrupting once. Her face never moved. By the time he finished, she tapped her stylus twice on the screen and said flatly, Your wife tried to kill you. Marcus let out a breath. Hearing it stated so bluntly hit differently. Yes, and she has motive. Financial motive. Debt. Prenup. Inheritance. And a co-conspirator. Regina closed the tablet cover. This is not sloppy. This is premeditated. Marcus nodded. So what do I do? Regina opened her briefcase again and began pulling out documents with frightening efficiency. You're hiring me. I already did. Good. Then we begin. The mental competency strategy. Regina placed a crisp white folder on the table. First thing, a comprehensive cognitive exam. Marcus frowned. I'm not. You're not incompetent, she cut in. But they will argue that you are. We cut that off immediately. She slid a paper across the table. I've booked you with a neurologist and a psychologist I trust. 3 hours of testing. You'll pass with flying colors, but what matters is the certification. Marcus skimmed the paper. This is today. In 1 hour, Regina said. Dress decent. Why so fast? Because your wife isn't going to wait. If she tried Plan B once, she'll try again. We need documentation now. Marcus swallowed. Okay. Regina made another note. Once we have the cognitive report, I'll file a legal notice that any attempt to claim incompetency must go through me. It puts a wall between you and anyone trying to manipulate you. The financial shield. Next, Regina pulled out another thicker folder labeled Irrevocable Trusts. Marcus blinked. Already. I don't do delays, she said. You have $20 million. That's a magnet for predators. She opened the folder and pointed to each section. Trust 1. Protects liquid assets. Trust 2. Protects intellectual property royalties. Trust 3. Protects real estate. All irrevocable. All excluding Brittany and any relative of hers. Marcus hesitated. If she finds out, she won't, Regina replied. Not until it's too late. And if she challenges it, Regina's lips curled slightly, not a smile, more like the ghost of a satisfied predator. She won't win. You'll have mental competency tests to support it. No judge will undo a trust created during a documented period of stability. Marcus exhaled slowly. You've done this before. She looked at him like the question annoyed her. Marcus, I've buried gold-digging spouses so deeply they forgot their own names. Freezing the accounts. She pulled her laptop closer. I'm placing fraud alerts on all your accounts. Every bank, every brokerage, every credit line. That seems extreme. Regina gave him a look. So, is attempted murder. She typed with lightning speed. From now on, any transaction over $5,000 triggers a call to me, not you. And Brittany, she gets nothing. No access. No credit. No ability to impersonate you. Marcus rubbed his forehead. What if she tries anyway? She will, Regina said simply. And when she does, I'll get the call. The surveillance phase. Regina stood, pacing slowly around the kitchen, eyes scanning every corner. Where's your security system? In the living room, Marcus said, pointing. Tamperable, Regina muttered. Visible. Predictable. She reached into her briefcase and pulled out 4 small black devices the size of matchboxes. What are those? Eyes, she said. Invisible eyes. Cameras. High-res. Low-light. Remote access. Audio enhanced. Marcus blinked. You carry these around? Marcus, she said, deadpan. I carry everything. She placed one under the kitchen cabinet lip, one on a bookshelf, one near the entryway, one in the hallway. Marcus watched her work with surgical precision. You've done this before too, I assume. More times than I can legally admit. The police cooperation. Regina returned to the table. Next item, the hospital report. Marcus nodded. They said it was a neurotoxic alkaloid. Regina's eyes sharpened. Fast-acting. Intentional. Not accidental. They filed a poisoning report automatically. Yes, she said, which means detectives will be contacting you. When they do, you will refer them to me. I'm not a suspect. You are the victim, Regina corrected. But victims often make mistakes. They ramble, they speculate, they talk too much. Let me speak. Marcus folded his arms. And what do you want me to say? Nothing, Regina said firmly. You say nothing without me present. I will handle everything with law enforcement. The setup. Regina sat back down, fingers steepling. Now, she said, we prepare the trap. Marcus's heartbeat ticked up. Trap? Yes, she replied. We don't go to war with suspicion. We go to war with evidence. She tapped the folder again. These trusts, the alerts, the cameras, they aren't just protection. They're bait. We are giving Brittany room to make a mistake. Marcus nodded slowly. Let her expose herself. Exactly, Regina said. She'll try something. Financial fraud, identity theft, breaking in, accessing accounts, something. And when she does, she pointed to the cameras. We capture it. Indisputably. Marcus met her eyes. And then, Regina closed the last folder with a decisive snap. Then we bury her. She stood, gathering her things. Marcus, she said, looking him dead in the eyes. From this moment on, you are not alone in this. We will take control. We will stay ahead. And we will build a case so airtight even the devil himself couldn't slip through. He nodded. Regina opened the door to leave. And now, she added, we wait for Brittany to show us exactly who she is. Chapter 7. The legal trap is set. Marcus hadn't realized how unnerving quiet could be until he spent 2 days waiting for Brittany's next move. Every ticking second carried the weight of an unseen threat. He kept glancing at the surveillance camera hidden under the kitchen cabinet lip, reassured only by the faint, invisible red glow Regina had tested and then disabled. No calls from Brittany. No surprise visits. Not a single attempt to reach him. That worried him more than anything. But Regina was unfazed. Predators don't disappear, she said as she strode into the house with her usual clipped precision, briefcase in hand. They lurk. They calculate. They wait for vulnerability. Marcus leaned on the counter. I don't feel very vulnerable. That's because I'm here, she smirked. Now let's finish what we started. The decoy bank account. Regina opened her laptop and handed Marcus a sleek black folder. I drafted the paperwork, she said. We're opening a decoy checking account at South Ridge Credit Union. Nothing fancy. Small bank. Easy to manipulate. Marcus scanned the papers. Why not a bigger bank? Because Brittany expects something big. Something impressive. Something worth stealing. This, Regina tapped the logo, is the opposite, which makes it perfect bait. They drove to the bank together. Inside, the small room smelled of old carpet and printer toner. A young banker named Oliver greeted them awkwardly, glancing at the stern woman in the tailored suit beside Marcus. So, you want to open an account? He asked. Regina answered before Marcus could. Mr. Hale requires a checking account. Minimal balance. Basic access. Oliver nodded quickly. Of course. We can set that up. Marcus sat while Oliver typed away. Initial deposit? Marcus slipped a $100 bill across the desk. Oliver blinked. Just 100? Marcus smiled slightly. It's temporary. Regina shot him a knowing look. Oliver finished the process, printed the papers, and handed them over. Regina checked every line, every signature box, every embedded clause. When they exited the bank, she snapped the folder closed with satisfying precision. $100, she said. A perfect insult. She'll take the bait. The fake power of attorney. Back at the house, Regina laid out a crisp document on the dining table. Here it is, she said. The power of attorney. Looks genuine, sounds official, fully formatted. Any greedy amateur would believe it. Marcus skimmed it. It says she has total access to my financial holdings. On paper, Regina corrected. Legally, it applies exclusively to the South Ridge account. Nothing else. Marcus frowned. Wouldn't a lawyer notice that? Brittany isn't going to call a lawyer, Regina said calmly. She's going to use it. And when she does, she'll commit fraud with full audio and video recording. Marcus nodded slowly. You're good at this. I'm excellent at this, Regina said without blinking. The fake digital world. Regina, a self-professed legal nightmare with a side of technical savagery, connected her laptop to Marcus's TV screen and began building a digital playground for a criminal. Brittany thinks you're wealthy, naive, and careless, she said, typing rapidly. So we're going to show her exactly what she wants to see. She created a mock brokerage dashboard. Large numbers, green arrows, 7 figures everywhere. Looks real, Marcus admitted. That's the point. Regina added a fake retirement investment summary, complete with pie charts and debt-free statements. We're going to let her think you've consolidated everything here. Marcus raised a brow. Wouldn't she know I have multiple accounts? Regina shot him a sharp look. Marcus, have you ever known your wife to do actual research? He thought about it. No, exactly. Next, she created a phony legacy wealth fund, complete with account numbers that led nowhere. Then she drafted a fake quarterly statement showing assets totaling nearly $20 million. Marcus stared. This is incredibly convincing. Crime is easier when greed blinds the criminal, Regina muttered. The physical bait. Once the digital versions were done, Regina printed everything on heavy premium paper, the kind used for real financial documents. The folder looked obnoxiously official. Embossed. Clean. Too tempting. Regina set it on the table. This is the treasure chest she won't be able to resist. They filled it. Fake retirement fund summary, fake investment portfolio, fake brokerage credentials, fake bank account overview, fake POA documents, fake notarization stamps, a sticky note reading. For later, have Brittany look at this. Might need her help. Marcus stared at the note. You added that? Of course, Regina said. A little psychological priming never hurt. Marcus sat back. And you're sure she'll take the bait? Regina chuckled softly, a dangerous, knowing sound. Marcus, Brittany tried to poison you for money. She pressured you to sign your rights over. She's desperate, cornered, and furious. Of course she'll take it. Setting the trap. Marcus stood in the middle of the living room, folder in hand, heart pounding. He felt a strange mixture of dread and grim determination. Where should I put it? He asked. Regina scanned the room like a strategist mapping a battlefield. Somewhere obvious, but not too obvious. She tapped her chin. She needs to think she discovered it on her own. Marcus suggested the dining table. Too central, Regina said. How about the kitchen counter? Too casual. His desk. She'll think you planted it. Finally, Regina walked over to a side table near the stairs, a spot Brittany always used to drop her purse or rummage through when she came over. This, Regina said, placing her hand on the smooth wooden surface, is where she'll see it, where she'll open it, and where she'll doom herself. Marcus handed her the folder. Regina placed it gently on the table, angled perfectly, slightly ajar, just enough to reveal the top page with the bolded title. Financial Authorization Documents and Consolidated Asset Overview. Marcus exhaled. Regina stepped back, arms crossed, studying the trap like a sniper reviewing a target. It's perfect, she said. Marcus swallowed. So now we just wait for her to walk into it. Regina nodded once. She will, and when she does, she'll commit a felony. On camera, with intent. Marcus stood there, staring at the folder, the bait, the weapon, the turning point. Regina closed her briefcase. And that, she said, finishes step 1 of the plan. Marcus felt a cold, steady resolve settle over him. He walked to the side table, adjusted the folder 1 final inch, and stepped back. The trap was set, and Brittany would find it. Soon. Chapter 8. Brittany makes her first move. Marcus lay on top of the neatly made bed, fully dressed, eyes closed but senses razor awake. The dim glow from the hallway leaked under the cracked bedroom door. He kept his breathing slow and even, counting each rise and fall of his chest. The house was silent, silent in that very specific way a predator's environment becomes silent before the strike. He didn't have to wait long. At 12:47 a.m., the soft thump of footsteps floated down the hallway. Light, careful but not careful enough. Marcus recognized them instantly. Brittany's. Her footsteps always tapped a little too nervously when she thought she was being clever. A shadow stopped outside the bedroom door. Then, just as Regina predicted, the door creaked open 3 inches. Marcus felt, more than saw, Brittany leaning in to check whether he was asleep. He didn't move. Her breath was shaky, as if she were listening for changes in his breathing patterns. After a long, tense pause, the door clicked shut again, and her footsteps moved toward the study. Marcus opened his eyes. It begins. He stood silently, slipping off the bed and making his way to the small monitor hidden inside his closet behind a stack of winter sweaters. He flipped it on. The surveillance feed came up. 9 camera angles, time-stamped and recording in high definition. And there she was. Brittany entered his office with the confidence of someone who believed the entire house belonged to her. She didn't fumble or hesitate. She walked directly to the desk drawer as if she'd memorized every inch of his workspace. "Wow," Marcus whispered to himself. "You didn't even pretend to be subtle." On the screen, Brittany pulled on latex gloves. Latex gloves. She thought she was being careful, thought she was being smart. But what she didn't know was that simply using gloves already told the police everything about intent. She began scanning the room, muttering under her breath. "Okay, where did you put it? You stubborn old fool, come on." She went to the bookshelf next, flipping through papers, tapping her foot impatiently. Then her eyes fell on the folder Regina had instructed Marcus to leave in an accidentally obvious spot. The bait. A sleek black folder labeled Financial Overview. Confidential sat on the corner of his desk, angled just enough to be noticed by someone snooping. Brittany froze. Her pupils expanded. Then she smiled. "There you are," she whispered. She opened the folder with a controlled excitement that quickly spiraled into greedy hunger. Her eyes darted from document to document. The fake brokerage login, the fabricated investment summaries, the decoy retirement fund statements, and the intentionally broad-looking fake POA. Her breathing grew shallow and fast. "Oh my God, yes, this is everything," she whispered. Marcus zoomed the camera feed in, watching her every micro-expression. She lifted her phone and snapped pictures, dozens, rapid fire. She photographed each page from multiple angles, even the edges, like she feared missing anything that could lead her to his wealth. Then she sat down at his desk, powered on his computer, and typed in the decoy login information he had placed on a sticky note, just barely visible under the monitor. The system opened to a convincingly professional interface, displaying the single worthless account with $100 in it. Brittany blinked in confusion. "What? No, that can't be right." She refreshed the page. "Still $100. Her jaw tightened. "Oh, you've got to be kidding me," she hissed. "There's no way this is all he has. He literally sold a patent for millions." She tried different passwords. Then she tried variations. Then she clicked Forgot Password, entered the email from the fake documents, and waited. When no email arrived, because the email didn't exist, she slammed her hand on the desk. Damn it. Marcus watched her shake her hands in frustration like a child denied a toy. Then she leaned back in the chair and spoke to herself. It's okay, she said, pacing around the office. "The POA will work. Once it gets processed, I won't need any of this." She ran her hand through her hair. "Andre said we just need access to one account, and then everything else will fall in place." She snatched the fake POA from the folder. Her lips curled upward. "Once this kicks in, Marcus won't own anything anymore." Marcus' expression hardened. Her voice carried zero hesitation, zero doubt, zero remorse. She fully intended to strip him of everything he ever earned. Brittany returned to the desk and snapped a few final photographs of the fake asset summary. Then she texted rapidly, clearly to Andre. Marcus couldn't hear the digital chimes, but her fingers were moving at a speed driven by adrenaline and greed. A moment later, her phone buzzed. She answered in a harsh whisper, unaware that the surveillance cameras were recording the audio feed perfectly. "Andre, listen. I can't access the main accounts yet," she hissed. "No. I'm telling you, he's hiding the big ones." A pause. "No, it's not just me. The login doesn't work. None of them do." Another pause. She sounded annoyed this time. "No, I'm not doing anything wrong. I know what I'm doing. The POA will unlock everything, but it's not active yet. I think he hasn't signed something or filed something, or I don't know. She paced, biting her thumbnail. Andre, stop yelling. I am trying, okay? I'm literally in his office right now, doing exactly what we planned. Marcus felt a chill, not from fear, but from the stunning clarity of her betrayal. She wasn't being coerced. She wasn't confused. She wasn't panicking because she regretted anything. She was panicking because she hadn't stolen enough yet. Back on the call, she practically growled. Yes, the stupid folder was right on the desk. No, he didn't notice. He's asleep. I checked. He looks awful lately. She gave a cruel laugh. Yeah, if he keeps looking like that, the doctors will sign anything we want. Marcus inhaled slowly, forcing down a wave of disgust. Brittany finally ended the call, stuffed the folder back into the desk drawer, sloppily, and left the office in a hurry, flicking off the light. Her footsteps retreated, and the house fell back into silence. Marcus rewound the footage slightly, replaying her words, her actions, her expressions. Every second of it was poisonous, but every second was also evidence. Hard evidence. Unmistakable evidence. Fraud. Manipulation. Attempted identity theft. Unauthorized access attempts. And the clear, articulated intent to use the POA to seize his assets. Exactly what Regina needed. Exactly what the police needed. The trap had sprung beautifully. Marcus powered down the monitor and stood still in the darkness of the room. Outside, a quiet breeze rustled the trees. Inside, the house felt colder, emptier, tainted by what had just happened. But he felt no fear, only resolve. He whispered into the darkness. Game over. And with that, he returned to bed, letting the cameras continue their silent watch. He now had everything he needed. Chapter 9, The Conspirators Tighten the Noose. It had been 3 days since Brittany had made her first move. Marcus had barely slept, alternating between monitoring the surveillance feeds and pacing quietly through his study, reviewing the recordings again and again. The folder, the decoy accounts, the fake PO, it all worked perfectly. But Regina had warned him that desperation would only escalate. And escalate it did. By mid-morning, the front doorbell rang. Marcus didn't need to look through the peephole. The unmistakable cadence of Brittany's voice carried through the wood-paneled walls. Marcus, you're awake. Good. I brought lunch, she called before the chime had even finished. Andre followed behind her, dark sunglasses indoors as usual, face tight with irritation. Both were carrying large tote bags stuffed with sandwiches, pastries, and oddly, a stack of medical brochures from Golden Birch. Marcus leaned back in his armchair, pretending to be engrossed in a book. He didn't look up. Brittany, undeterred, set the bags down with an exaggerated sigh. You really shouldn't be left alone, honey. You're, declining. I can see it in your eyes. Her voice was sweet but strained. We just want to help you. Marcus lowered the book lazily. Declining? Is that what we're calling paranoia and vigilance these days? She blinked, frowning slightly. Marcus, you don't remember things. You've been confused, forgetful, only when it's convenient for you to claim it. He interrupted smoothly. Go on. Andre smirked, trying to play the concerned accomplice. Yeah, man. You gotta trust us. We're only trying to help. Marcus let the words hang in the air like a challenge. Really? And the psychiatrist you recommended for me yesterday, Dr. Hensley, affiliated with Golden Birch, that was part of this help plan too. Brittany's eyes flickered. Well, he's a professional. He can assess your mental state. It's routine. Marcus leaned back, arching an eyebrow. Routine, huh? You bring in a stranger to judge me, while trying to convince my friends I'm mentally unfit. How convenient. Brittany's voice dropped a notch. Marcus, don't be difficult. If you refuse help, people might, friends, colleagues, think you're not well. We just want you safe. She stepped closer, placing her hand delicately on the table. This is for your own good. Trust me. Marcus didn't flinch. Trust you? You tried to poison me, Brittany. You nearly succeeded. And now you want me to sign over my mind, my wealth, my freedom, for my own good? Andre's hand shot out, almost touching Marcus's shoulder, but he swatted it away. Stop doing that. You're acting irrational. Marcus gave him a level stare. And you? What do you call sneaking around my accounts, copying documents, trying to use a fake POA to access millions you didn't earn? Andre's jaw tightened. Brittany's lips pressed into a thin line. The two exchanged a fleeting glance, a silent conversation of panic and desperation. Regina had warned Marcus that they would escalate, push harder, and start drawing in other people to back up their story. She had predicted Brittany would attempt to convince friends, colleagues, even neighbors that he was losing his mind. And she was right. The phone started ringing later that day. Marcus, his old friend David's voice said cautiously, "Are you okay?" Brittany called, and she seemed worried. She mentioned maybe you're not yourself lately. Marcus's lips twitched. She's worried, David? Or plotting? David paused. I don't know. I just thought I'd check in. Marcus smiled faintly. Thanks for checking in. I'm fine. Really, you don't need to worry about anything. After he hung up, he walked over to the side table, glanced at the surveillance feed, and noticed Brittany hovering near the fake account summary he had left as bait. She had placed a second folder nearby now, copies of emails and statements she believed would manipulate him, but were completely fake. She had no idea she was being recorded in high definition. She picked up the folder, muttering, "We'll get him to sign. He has no choice. Once he's in the system, everything opens up." Andre said it's foolproof. Marcus watched her pace, eyes darting, fingers tapping the documents. Her confidence was growing, but so was her desperation. She was already talking about taking bigger risks, pushing boundaries she hadn't considered before, trying to create a narrative where he appeared incompetent to the outside world, leaning on friends and anyone who might validate her lies. Andre stepped into the room, lowering his voice. "Britt, you need to hurry this along. We can't wait. The longer he resists, the worse it gets." She nodded sharply. "I know. I just need him to see it as reasonable, not forced. I have to convince him. And the paperwork, once he signs, it's done." Marcus's pulse remained calm. He could hear every whispered calculation, every frustrated mutter captured perfectly on the hidden microphones Regina had installed. He felt a slow, sinister satisfaction. Brittany and Andre were acting exactly as Regina had predicted, panicking, escalating, and increasingly reckless. Each step they took was creating a new trail of evidence, fraud, coercion, attempted theft, all recorded in his living room and office. Then came the call from the hospital lab. The nurse on the line spoke carefully. "Mr. Hale, the toxicology report has returned. It confirms the patient who ingested the substance at your party was exposed to a fast-acting neurotoxic alkaloid. Evidence indicates intentional administration." Marcus's stomach tightened. He had expected the report, but hearing it out loud, official, medical, and confirming criminal intent, sent a chill straight through him. He ended the call and looked toward the empty hallway. Brittany and Andre, in their scramble for control, had just added another layer of criminal culpability to their list. Premeditated poisoning, manipulation, and fraud. Every reckless move, every desperate attempt to force him into signing documents or convincing others of his supposed incompetence now had the backing of medical confirmation. He returned to the surveillance monitor, replaying Brittany's frantic movements, Andre whispering orders, and her constant attempts to access what she thought was his wealth. Everything had been captured. Her greed, her lies, her unrestrained panic. Marcus's lips curved into a faint, cold smile. Regina's plan was working perfectly. The conspirators were tightening their own noose, digging deeper into their web of criminality. Each desperate act, each impatient move, was being recorded, time-stamped, and stored, a perfect legal bullet for the future. He took a slow breath. The trap was now fully sprung. Brittany and Andre, believing they could corner him, had only accelerated their own downfall. Their hunger for wealth, their overconfidence, and their panicked improvisations were leaving a trail too obvious to ignore. Marcus leaned back in his chair, letting the weight of the moment settle in. He could feel the tension in the house, the calm before the storm, the anticipation of confrontation. But he didn't need to act yet. He just had to watch. Let them continue their reckless escalation. Let them spiral into their criminal behavior while the evidence stacked up like bricks in a wall he could not be toppled from. Because now, with the police toxicology report confirming intentional poisoning, Marcus had more than just suspicion. He had irrefutable proof that the attempt on his life wasn't an accident or a fluke. It was deliberate, malicious, and calculated. And the rest, the POA, the decoy accounts, the fake digital portfolios, had forced them into revealing themselves further. He glanced at the folder on the desk, perfectly placed, just waiting for the next impatient move. Every recorded action, every misstep, every word spoken would soon be cataloged, packaged, and ready for the authorities. Brittany and Andre had no idea how tightly the net was closing around them, and Marcus, finally, felt a surge of controlled power. He wasn't just surviving. He was preparing to strike, not physically, but legally, decisively, and irreversibly. The room felt quieter now, but the tension remained thick. Every creak of the floorboards, every tick of the clock, every distant car passing outside reminded him of the conspirators' next likely move. He didn't need to chase them. They were chasing themselves, and every step further would only cement their culpability. Marcus exhaled slowly, watching the empty hallway where Brittany and Andre had disappeared after another failed attempt to manipulate him. He knew their next moves would be more reckless. He knew they would try again, and he was ready, because now he had everything he needed. Surveillance video of Brittany entering his office. Attempts to photograph and copy documents. Failed login attempts on the decoy accounts. Conversations with Andre revealing their plan. Her explicit intention to use the POA for personal gain. And the police confirmed toxicology report proving the poisoning was intentional. Everything was documented, undeniable, and mounting against them like an unstoppable avalanche. Marcus allowed himself a small, victorious smile. Let them try to tighten the noose. It was already too late. Chapter 10, The Trap Springs Shut. Marcus woke that morning with a strange calm. The house was silent, the only sound the faint hum of the security systems Regina had installed. He glanced at the surveillance monitors. Each camera feed was alive, recording, documenting, preparing to catch the final moves of a pair of desperate conspirators. Today, Regina had promised, would be the culmination. She arrived promptly at 9:15 a.m., heels clicking sharply against the marble floor. Her leather briefcase swung in one hand, the other holding a tablet displaying police schedules, logs from the surveillance cameras, and every digital footprint Brittany had left behind. Marcus, Regina said without preamble, today, we finish what we started. He nodded. What's the plan? We wait, she replied. We let them make the mistake themselves. Brittany will return to access the decoy account. And when she does, we have everything. Felonies, criminal intent, her own words. And thanks to the police coordination, we won't even need to chase her. Marcus exhaled slowly, a mixture of anticipation and satisfaction settling over him. He had been careful to act oblivious, to let his residence appear vulnerable, the bait tempting, the documents waiting. All the while, he had maintained a facade of a man still at the mercy of his wife's schemes. The return of the predators. Just after 10 a.m., a familiar pair approached the house. Brittany and Andre, carrying laptops, USB drives, and stacks of envelopes labeled with urgent and confidential. She's going to try something big this time, Marcus murmured, watching the monitors. She will, Regina replied, her tone deadly calm. And this time, it's serious. Enough to constitute felony theft. They entered quietly, almost smugly. Brittany headed straight to the desk where Marcus had left the decoy folder, her eyes scanning the papers hungrily. Andre lingered near the laptop station, setting up what appeared to be a wire transfer. Brittany murmured under her breath, "Once I move the funds from this account, nothing can stop us. Marcus won't even know until it's too late." Marcus stayed hidden, listening, recording. Andre's phone buzzed. He glanced at it quickly, typing something rapidly. Yes, do it now. I want confirmation before noon." Brittany began typing the credentials into the fake portal. Marcus leaned slightly forward from behind the corner, his pulse steady, knowing every keystroke, every hesitant click every failed login attempt was being recorded in high definition. Suddenly, Regina's voice came over a discreet earpiece. "Now," she whispered, "the arrival of justice." Marcus stepped out from his hiding place, calm and composed. Behind him, two detectives from the local precinct entered the office. Their presence was quiet but authoritative. Brittany froze. Andre looked up, startled, his confident smirk faltering. "Freeze," one detective commanded. "Both of you, step away from the desk." Brittany spun around, eyes wide, lips trembling. "Marcus, wait, I—" The detectives ignored her and gestured for her to step back. One placed handcuffs around her wrists. "No, it was an accident. I didn't mean, he forced me. He made me do it." Brittany screamed, panic rising to hysteria. Marcus remained composed, standing straight, eyes locked on her. He didn't flinch. He didn't speak. He simply allowed her words, desperate and false, to hang in the air. Andre's phone, still clutched tightly, was seized by another detective. Text messages, emails, and call logs were immediately flagged. Within moments, the officer explained, "We have enough evidence to arrest you, Mr. Andre, for conspiracy, wire fraud, and aiding in attempted theft." Andre's confident posture collapsed. This isn't real." "Marcus, you and Brittany acted in concert," the officer interrupted. "Everything is logged. Everything is recorded." The poison confirmation. Marcus's attention shifted for a moment to Lorraine, whose hospital room had been silent but tense. Regina had coordinated with the hospital to keep him updated. A nurse stepped out, holding a sealed envelope. "Mr. Hale, the toxicology report confirms the substance found in your champagne was a neurotoxic alkaloid. It was intentionally administered." Marcus nodded slightly, his jaw tightening. "Proof. The same proof that would ensure Brittany could never manipulate the narrative." Detectives approached Brittany with the vile evidence. "Your fingerprints were found on this container. Care to explain?" Her face paled, words faltering. I was supposed to be harmless. I didn't know." Detective 1 shook his head. "Intent doesn't require success. You tried to poison Mr. Hale. That is a crime." Lorraine speaks. Minutes later, Marcus received a call from the hospital. Lorraine had woken. She had been heavily sedated, but now, under questioning and the pressing authority of her doctors, she admitted everything. Brittany had instructed her, explained the plan to secure Marcus's fortune, and detailed the poisoning attempt. Marcus listened silently over the phone, feeling the last threads of the conspiracy unravel. Lorraine's confession matched exactly what Marcus and Regina had anticipated. Every lie, every manipulation, every attempt to declare him incompetent or access his assets illegally was now documented. The aftermath. In the office, Brittany screamed, pleaded, and tried to manipulate the detectives with a flurry of tears and excuses. "It was an accident," she yelled. "He forced me. He tricked me. I just wanted him to be safe." Marcus didn't react. He didn't need to. His calm, collected presence was far more damning than any words could have been. The contrast between his composure and her hysteria spoke volumes to everyone in the room. Andre was led away, defeated and stunned. Brittany's pleas became increasingly shrill and erratic. Every move she had made was now irrevocably recorded. Every attempt to manipulate Marcus, the financial system, or the people around her was evidence, undeniable, overwhelming. A new beginning. 2 weeks later, Marcus walked out of the courthouse. The morning sun was bright but gentle, casting long shadows over the steps. He adjusted his suit jacket, feeling the solid weight of his regained freedom and his intact fortune. The trial had been swift. The evidence, meticulously collected by Regina and the police, left no room for doubt. Brittany and Andre faced multiple felony charges, including attempted murder, fraud, and conspiracy. Lorraine, deeply remorseful and terrified by the consequences of her own participation, had fully cooperated with authorities. Marcus had nothing left to fear from her or the others. As he descended the courthouse steps, reporters shouted questions he ignored. Cameras flashed, but he didn't pause, didn't answer. Every step was deliberate. Each one carried the memory of betrayal, the sting of greed, and the satisfaction of justice served. Marcus reached the curb, breathed in the crisp air, and smiled faintly to himself. He was alive. He was free. He was wealthy. And more importantly, he was unshackled from the people who had once tried to destroy him. He hailed a cab, giving directions back to his home, a home no longer haunted by manipulation, poison, or betrayal. The road ahead was his, clear, and waiting to be rebuilt on his own terms. For the first time in months, Marcus felt an unburdened sense of control. He would rebuild. He would live. And he would never allow anyone to compromise his life, his fortune, or his peace of mind again. The story of attempted murder, deceit, and greed had come to an end. Marcus Hale walked out into the world, triumphant, vigilant, and ready to reclaim his life. The trap had sprung. The conspirators had fallen. And Marcus had survived.